My husband claimed we couldn't afford new shoes for our 5-year-old, but I found messages showing he'd been sending money to his coworker for months. Then I discovered I was pregnant with our second child. The look on his face when I stood up at his family reunion and read his text messages out loud about how much he loved spending money on another woman was priceless. My name is Jennifer Walsh, and I thought I was married to a struggling father who was doing his best to provide for our family. I had no idea he was choosing another woman over his own children. Bear, we continue. I want to thank you for being here. If you believe that children should come before affairs, please consider subscribing. It's free and helps. Youth reach more families who need to hear this now. Let's see how financial betrayal became family. Justice and me husband Mark and I had been married for 6 years with our son, Tyler, who just turned 5. We weren't wealthy, but we managed to pay our bills and keep food on the table. Mark worked as a supervisor at a manufacturing plant while I worked part-time at a daycare center so I could pick Tyler up from school and be home with him in the afternoons. Money had always been tight, but we made it work by budgeting carefully and prioritizing Tyler's needs over our own wants. We drove older cars and shopped at discount stores. We're building something together, John. Mark would say when I worried about our finances, Tyler's going to have everything he needs, even if we have to sacrifice. I believed him because Mark seemed genuinely committed to being a good father. He coached Tyler's little league team and never missed a school event. First signs something was wrong came when Tyler needed new sneakers for school. His old ones had holes in the soles, and the teacher had mentioned it to me. Mark, we need to get Tyler new shoes. I told him, showing him the worn-out sneakers. These aren't going to last another week. Mark's response surprised me. Jean, we just can't afford it right now. I'm barely making ends meet. As it is, can't he wear them a little longer? They have holes in them, I said, confused. Tyler's feet are going to get wet when it rains, and the other kids are starting to notice. Mark got defensive. I'm doing the best I can. Jennifer, maybe you should pick up more hours at the daycare instead of criticizing how I provide for this family. I was hurt by his tone, but I picked up extra shifts and bought Tyler the shoes myself using money I'd been saving for groceries over the next few months. Mark's excuses about money became more frequent. We can't afford that became his standard response to everything Tyler needed new. School clothes for the fall, too expensive. A birthday party gift for Tyler's friend, not in the budget. Even basic things like replacing Tyler's worn-out backpack. Mark, what's going on with our finances? I asked one evening after he'd refused to buy Tyler a $10 book for a school project. Where is all your money going? Bills, Jennifer, bills and more bills. He snapped. The mortgage, the car payment, utilities, groceries, everything costs more than it used to. But I handled most of the household bills, and I knew our expenses hadn't increased significantly. Something didn't add up about Mark's constant poverty claims then. I discovered I was pregnant again. I was excited but nervous about how we'd afford another child. If Mark was already struggling to provide for Tyler when I told Mark about the pregnancy, his reaction was lukewarm. Are you sure we can handle another kid right now? Jean, money's already so tight. We'll make it work, I said hopefully. Families do it all the time, and Tyler will love having a little brother or sister. But Mark seemed more stressed than excited about the pregnancy, constantly worrying about money and making comments about how expensive babies are. Diapers, formula, doctor visits. He'd list, John, I don't know how we're going to afford all of this on my salary. I suggested he ask for a raise or look for a better paying job, but Mark always had excuses. The economy's bad. Or I'm lucky to have the job I have. Meanwhile, Tyler was growing out of his clothes and I was using credit cards to buy necessities while Mark claimed we had no money for anything. Breaking point came when Tyler's school called about his lunch account. Mrs. Walsh, Tyler's lunch account is overdrawn and has been for 2 weeks. I was mortified that my 5-year-old had been denied lunch at school because we couldn't keep $20 in his account. Mark, this is unacceptable. I confronted him that evening. Our son was denied lunch at school because his account was empty. How do we let this happen? I forgot to add money to it. Mark said dismissively, it's not a big deal. Young kids forget their lunch money all the time. It is a big deal, I insisted. Tyler was embarrassed in front of his classmates, and the school thinks we're neglectful parents. That night, I couldn't sleep thinking about Tyler going hungry at school while Mark claimed we had no money for basic necessities. I decided to look at our bank account online to understand exactly where our money was going. Maybe I could find areas where we could cut. Expense what I found shocked me. There were regular transfers from our checking account to an account I didn't recognize. $50 here, $30 there. Over the past 3 months, Mark had transferred almost $400 to this mystery account while telling me we couldn't afford Tyler's school lunch. I confronted Mark the next morning. Who is account number ending in 7,392? And why are you sending money there? Mark's face went pale. What are you talking about? Jean, I don't know what account you mean. I looked at our bank statement online, I said, showing him my phone. You sent almost $400 to this account while our son's lunch account was empty. Mark scrambled for an explanation. Oh, that's my buddy Steve. I've been lending him money for his car repairs. He's going to pay me back. Steve needs $400 for car repairs, but we can't afford $20 for Tyler's lunch. I asked incredulously. It's temporary, Jen Steves? Good for it. He'll pay me back next month, and then we'll have extra money. Something about Mark's explanation felt wrong, but I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe that my husband wouldn't prioritize a friend over our children. Weeks later, I was doing laundry when Mark's phone fell out of his pants pocket. As I picked it up to put it on the dresser, a text message notification appeared. Thank you for dinner, baby. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. The message was from someone named Ashley. With a heart emoji, my hands shook as I stared at the phone. Mark was in the shower and his phone was unlocked. I knew I shouldn't look, but I had to know. Text thread with Ashley went back months, intimate messages about missing each other, plans to meet for lunch and dinner, and most devastating financial discussions. Can you help with my car payment this month? Ashley had texted and Mark had replied, of course, baby, anything for you. You're so generous. Ashley wrote back, my husband never helps me with anything like this. You're amazing. My husband never helps me with anything like this. Ashley was married too, and Mark was helping her with expenses while our son went hungry at school. I scrolled through weeks of messages, finding a pattern of Mark sending Ashley money for various needs while telling me we were broke, sent you $50 for groceries. One message read, can't have my girl going hungry, while Tyler had been eating peanut butter sandwiches for lunch because we couldn't afford the school meal plan. Messages weren't just financial, they were romantic, intimate, planning secret meetings and expressing love for each other. I wish I could leave my wife and be with you, Mark had written, but with the kids and the house, it's complicated. I understand, baby, Ashley replied. We'll figure it out eventually. Until then, I'm just grateful for everything you do for me. I felt sick reading about my husband planning to leave me and our children for a woman he was supporting financially while claiming poverty at home. Most recent messages were about Ashley needing money for a vacation. I really want to go to Miami with my girlfriends, but I'm short on cash. How much do you need? Mark had replied, and Ashley said, maybe 200. Mark responded, I'll figure it out, baby. You deserve a vacation. $200 for Ashley's vacation while I was pregnant, and Tyler needed new clothes for school. Mark had his priorities completely backwards. I took screenshots of the most damaging messages, then put Mark's phone back where I found it. I needed time to process what I'd discovered. That evening, I watched Mark play with Tyler in the living room, acting like a devoted father while secretly planning to abandon use for another woman. Daddy, can we get pizza tonight? Tyler asked, and Mark's automatic response was, sorry, buddy, we can't afford pizza right now. I wanted to scream. You just sent $200 to your girlfriend for a vacation, but I held my tongue. I needed a plan over the next week. I gathered more evidence, checking our bank statements and finding a pattern of transfers that coincided with Mark's text messages to Ashley. Every time Ashley asked for money, Mark found a way to send it while simultaneously denying Tyler basic necessities and complaining about our tight budget. Final straw came when Tyler asked for a new lunchbox because his was falling apart. Daddy, all the other kids have cool lunchboxes. Can I get one? Tyler, we've talked about this, Mark said sternly. Money doesn't grow on trees. We have to be careful with our spending. That same day, I saw Mark text Ashley, Sent you money for that spa day, baby. You worked so hard you deserve to be pampered. A spa day for Ashley, while Tyler carried his lunch in a torn paper bag because we couldn't afford a $10 lunchbox. Mark's family reunion was scheduled for the following weekend. A big gathering with his parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, and cousins. I'm excited for everyone to see how much. Tyler's grown, Mark said as we prepared for the reunion, and to tell them. About the new baby, I decided the reunion would be the perfect venue for Mark to explain his financial priorities to his family, who always praised him as a devoted husband and father. Reunion was held at Mark's parents' house with about 30. Family members gathered for a barbecue and celebration. Everyone fussed over Tyler and congratulated us on the pregnancy. Mark, you're such a good provider, his mother said. Jennifer's so lucky to have you. He works so hard to take care of his family. Mark's sister added, always putting Jennifer and Tyler first. Smiled and nodded while internally preparing for what I was about to reveal to Mark's family about their golden boy after dinner. Mark's father called for everyone's attention. I want to say how proud we are of Mark for being such a dedicated family man. He's always been responsible with money and committed to providing for his wife and son. His father continued, that's the kind of man we raised. The family applauded and Mark beamed with pride, accepting praise for being a provider while I knew the truth about where his money actually went. Actually, I said, standing up, I'd like to share something about Mark's financial priorities with everyone. The room fell quiet as I pulled out my phone. Mark's been very generous lately, just not with his own family. I began reading from the screenshots. Thank you for the money, baby. You're so much more generous than my husband. Gasps filled the room as Mark's face went white. Jennifer, what are you doing? He whispered, but I continued reading. Can you help with my car payment this month? I read Ashley's message then. Mark's reply, of course, baby, anything for you. Mark's mother looked confused. Mark, who is this person? Why are you sending money to someone else? Here's another one. I continued, sent you $50 for groceries. Can't have my girl going hungry. I looked directly at Mark. While our son's lunch account was overdrawn, the room erupted in shocked whispers and angry murmurs. Mark's family stared at him in disbelief. And this one's my favorite, I said. I wish I could leave my wife and be with you, but with the kids and the house, it's complicated. Mark's father stood up, his face red with anger. Mark? What is the meaning of this? Are you having an affair? Dad, I can explain, Mark stammered, but I wasn't finished reading the evidence. How much do you need for your Miami vacation? I read, maybe $200. Then Mark's response, I'll figure it out, baby. You deserve a vacation. $200 for another woman's vacation. Mark's mother said, her voice shaking, well, Jennifer is pregnant and Tyler needs school clothes. Mark tried to minimize the damage. It's not what it looks like. She's just a friend going through a hard time. Friends don't call each other baby, his sister said coldly, and friends don't plan to leave their wives for each other. I showed the bank statements to Mark's father. He sent over $800 to this woman in 3 months while telling me we can't afford basic necessities. The family was horrified. Mark's reputation as a devoted father and husband crumbled in real time as the evidence mounted. Tyler's been eating peanut butter sandwiches for lunch, I continued, because Mark said we couldn't afford the school meal plan, but he could afford to send his girlfriend money for spa days and vacations. Mark's aunt said with disgust. Mark's grandmother, who had always been his biggest supporter, looked at him with disappointment. Mark, how could you do this to your family? Grandma, it's complicated, Mark pleaded, but she turned away from him. There's nothing complicated about choosing your children over another woman. The reunion ended abruptly with family members leaving in disgust and disappointment. Mark's parents asked us to stay so they could talk privately. Mark, you're going to end this affair immediately, his father said, and you're going to get counseling to save your marriage, and you're going to pay back every penny you stole from your family, his mother added. Money that should have gone to Tyler and Jennifer. Mark agreed to everything, but I could see in his eyes that he was just trying to minimize the damage, not genuinely repentant. Over the next week, Mark's family called to apologize and offer support. We had no idea he was doing this. His sister said, we're ashamed of him. Mark's parents offered to help with Tyler's expenses, and they knew, "Baby, we won't let our grandchildren suffer because of Mark's selfishness." Filed for divorce 2 weeks later, the evidence of Mark's affair and financial betrayal made the proceedings straightforward. Mark was ordered to pay child support for both children and to reimburse me for the money he diverted to Ashley. Ashley's husband found out about the affair when Mark's wife contacted her. She filed for divorce as well, ending both marriages. Mark tried to reconcile with Ashley after our divorce, but she wasn't interested in a man who couldn't provide financial support anymore. Turns out she was only interested in your money. Mark's sister told me when he couldn't send her cash anymore, she dropped him. Tyler adjusted well to the divorce, especially when he realized he'd finally have new clothes and a properly funded lunch account. "Mommy, why do I have so many new things now?" he asked, and I explained, "Because now all of Daddy's money goes to taking care of you like it should." Mark's family remained supportive of Tyler and me while cutting contact with Mark until he could prove he changed. "We raised him better than this," his mother said, "but we won't enable his behavior by pretending it's acceptable." The new baby arrived. Healthy and beautiful, Tyler was excited to be a big brother, and Mark's parents helped with expenses. Mark pays his court-ordered support, but has minimal contact with the children. His choice to prioritize an affair over his family cost him everything. I learned that financial infidelity is often more devastating than emotional cheating because it directly harms innocent children. Tyler now is everything he needs: new clothes, a funded lunch account, and a mother who puts his needs first. Always. Mark's family reunion became legendary in their family as the day their golden boy was exposed as a selfish cheater who stole from his own children. I kept the screenshots not for revenge, but as evidence that some people will choose their own desires over their children's basic needs. Divorce settlement ensured that both children would be provided for, regardless of Mark's future choices about where to spend his money. Mark's affair partner Ashley learned that married men who cheat with you will eventually cheat on you, especially when the money runs out of him. Now in a relationship with someone who understands that children come first and that financial transparency is essential in a partnership. A story of financial betrayal and family justice gave you chills. Hit that like button right now. My favorite part was when Mark's grandmother turned away from him in disgust. What was your favorite moment? Drop it in the comments below for more stories of protecting children from selfish parents. Subscribe and tap the notification bell.